Hello, and welcome back to another episode of White Album 2's Fan Club Radio. Today we're going to be reading through episode 87. 87 episodes. This is the final episode of the whole radio show, really. And there was hope that it would be renewed. They did get their license for the show reinstilled in 2018, but we haven't heard anything since then, unfortunately, as of late 2021. So this really might be the final episode ever. So, with that, let's get started. White Album 2 Fan Club Radio. Todokanai Koi plays in the background. Alright, let's get started. Hello everyone, I'm Madoka Yonezawa, the voice of Setsuna Ogiso. Hello everyone, I'm Hitomi Nabatame, the voice of Kazusa Toma. This is hurting my heart a little for some reason. Hello everyone, I'm Takahiro Mizushima, the voice of Haruki Kitahara. Hello everyone, I'm Fumiaki Maruto, the scenario writer. Ooh, yes, the four of us. We've come this far, the four of us, all together. Yeah, that's how it feels. The four of us, the quad. No longer the trio, they've evolved. I was the first one to show up, and then Maruto-san did later. The whole time. No, our last one. I've given it my best as a regular for a year and a half, right? Yeah. A lot has gone on for us. It really has. Yes, this is a very moving moment. It's been a long time. The pressure. Anyway, it's the four of us again this week, right? Yes, and we'd like to talk about the story itself, right? Anything I say should be considered unofficial, remember. That's right, everyone. Yes, everyone, please keep that in mind. Yes. And that's true. Even though he was the one that wrote the story for the series, Maruto-san still has his own opinions about things, and opinions about what might be happening behind the scenes with some characters. But that doesn't mean he wants to make those theories official. You know, if he was going to make anything official, he'd have to put a lot more thought into it, because it could mess something up later down the road. So it's all just for fun for now. You could pretend to be someone else then. What? Like Maru-chan, the mysterious Maru-chan. And he could become a ramen maker too. Hi, I'm Shimokawa. Maruko-chan. Why Shimokawa-san? Wouldn't it be iffy from Shimokawa-san too? Would it? Maybe not then. Though I guess Shimokawa-san might be in a position to talk more freely. Yeah, for sure. Right? As a separate person. Anyway, I mean, if it was a separate person, you could talk about whatever you want to. It's not like you can't have opinions about a show. Anyway, yes, we've just released our concert Blu-ray, right? It's out now. Yes. I actually had an event that coincided exactly with this one. Right? And I wasn't able to go, so I've been waiting anxiously for this. Wow. Since you didn't show up, you weren't called for the round table talk either. Right? Yes, that's right. Yes. I had 2 people there on my behalf. Yeah. It was so frustrating. Right. The discussion. The discussion was pretty substantial. Really? The talking just went on and on. Yeah. In a sense, it really was the culmination of everything musically. Yeah. It was the most important thing, and I wasn't able to make it. What kind of protagonist am I? The protagonist? Good point. Yeah, good point, but the protagonist who couldn't make it to the concert. Yes, exactly. I guess that's Haruki for you. That's super Haruki-like. Being late for a super important event is the most Haruki-like thing I've ever heard, other than being a liar. Yep, I'm sure. Maruto-san and I were both there. Yes, we were. Then, though I was bashed pretty hard in the voice comments after the concert. Well, the energy was strange. Something was off. It was funny. Yeah, it was funny. I cracked up. According to Shimokawa-san, as a finishing touch, right? As a sheer creative rush, there was some kind of excitement that made you feel like, now that I've seen this concert, I'm going to make something incredible. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to it. Also, the limited edition first run, the initial run, will include an SACD. A hybrid. Yes. What is that? SACD? Something super awesome? Audio? It sounds really good. It's a super audio CD with incredible sound, but you have to use a special player for it. I mean, they were close. Super awesome CD. Super audio CD. But yes, unless you have one of these special little CD players, you can't listen to like the upgraded tracks. You can put an SACD into a regular CD player, but you're just going to get the default audio, which still sounds really good. But it's not going to be that lossless, almost like the FLAC audio, which, depends. Do you have room in your house for a special CD player or not? What? If you listen with that dedicated player, you'll feel like you're really there, hearing the music. Apparently, right? With a normal CD player, it'll just sound like a normal CD. Okay, so they're going to explain the same thing I just did. Oh, so you can listen with a normal CD player, but with a special one, it's incredible. Yeah, incredible. I've never heard of that before. Yep, a hybrid. Yes, hybrid. Wow, I'm so far behind. Man, I still have a bunch of mini discs. Wow. What? There's an old one. Haven't heard the word mini disc in a while. Also, we heard this in the ending last time, but this SACD hybrid, right? There's a CD for the live edition. And it's also incredible. I can hardly believe they managed to make this into a CD. Yeah, definitely. Man, the sound quality is gorgeous. I was really surprised. Exactly how it sounded in person. Hello, Shimokawa here. That was sudden. You're impersonating him now? I love how Maruto-san just jumps in and it always surprises them. With the Osaka dialect, please. There's a slight similarity. Only a slight similarity? Ouch. But since you've been working together with him for so long, it makes sense there'd be a bit of him in there. I guess so. Ah, the Shimokawa component. Yes, anyway, this release is really amazing. So by all means, pick up a copy. I personally recommend the limited edition. Yes. I'd say the limited edition is definitely what you want. Enjoy it. They're so blatantly pushing people to buy the more expensive limited edition. It's so funny. It's so purposeful, but at the same time, it's genuine because there are some good, extras included. But it's funny just to hear them just, I don't know, unashamedly advertising it like this. Apparently, there's something like a ticket included. I don't know much more than that. A ticket? The mini after? Yeah, the ticket. Story? The mini after story, yeah. Right. Yes. Now, who could have written that? Who indeed? Who could it have been? Well? What do you mean, well? Shimokawa-san, maybe. Oh ho. Well, something's been written. Ah, yes. Sounds like fun. I wonder what that person must be thinking right now. Yes, I wonder. Good question. He's always so vague with things. And I know you have to be because you're in the industry and secrets and whatever, but it feels like he's more vague than he needs to be, just to be like the mysterious writer, you know? Anyway, today is our last episode, everyone. So let's talk about anything and everything with nothing left unsaid. Yes, yes. Now, let's get started. White Album 2, Fanclub Radio, begin! This program is sponsored by Aquaplus. White Album 2, Fanclub Radio. Rena Uehara's new album, Emergence, also includes the theme songs from White Album 2 and Tears to Tiara 2. Emergence, the new album from Rena Uehara, now available for purchase. White Album 2, Fanclub Radio. Now, it's time for our special project to get Maruto-san and Daichu-san talking. Let's hear everything. Super Daichu time! Volume 4, featuring Fumiaki Maruto. Volume 4 marks Volume 4 marks the final installment of our special project, which has been running for 4 consecutive weeks. Today, we're going to read mail our members sent in regarding the infidelity and sworn enemies roots of White Album 2. Alrighty. So, our first message. This is from Borderman-san. It was very difficult to pick a single scene out of the sworn enemies route, but I want to talk about the scene during the interview after the concert when Kazusa shouts, "Just you watch!" I thought that this extra episode was the centerpiece of White Album 2, The Other Side of Happiness. And after I finished playing this route, I was really stunned. The infidelity route felt unrelentingly painful. I mean, yes. It's probably the worst of all. But with the sworn enemies route, while the mood throughout was melancholy, ended on a very peaceful note. And I felt like Setsuna and Kazusa might have found happiness like in their own roots, even though it was in a different form for each of them. Setsuna gets to snuggle up next to Haruki and watch the concert, back to a calm, intimate relationship with him where he addresses her as omae. And Kazusa, after breaking into a new world by her own power, has taken off to a place beyond the reach of Haruki or anyone else. Setsuna and Kazusa may be sworn enemies, but I felt that that was one form of that, a deep, certain, lifelong friendship might take. I'm sure everyone who plays has their own ideas of what happiness is, but the story was wonderful enough that it made me want to consider the other 2 routes anew. What do you all think about the happiness the 3 of them found? All right. Phew. They did apologize for the first one. What a long letter. It's a lot to take in there. We're going to actually break it down, but personally speaking, I think this is fine for Kazusa to move on with her own career, form her own path, and the whole Just You Watch, it was so resolute and beautiful. And obviously she's still heartbroken. Obviously she's still gonna struggle, but that felt like a good step 1 toward moving on from the whole situation. So I think that's good for them. Haruki and Setsuna, they're gonna have a lot of struggles, but they can like go to therapy, like whatever, try to get over whatever's going on with them. But good for Kazusa. But I feel like, in a way, Borderman-san has given us a big answer here. Something fully felt. It really... The thing about the forms of happiness, well, let me think. Anything is fine. The fact that we can talk about this way, I guess it's long after the fact, but I think it's good. Yeah. I guess Maruto-san would have plenty to say, but we can just talk about it however we want. And it's the kind of work where everyone has their own ways of looking at it, and that's what makes it so interesting. Yeah. Well, and talking about whatever comes to mind like this, right? This is a fan club radio program, but it feels like a class reunion. Yeah, it definitely does. It does. So the conversation has started feeling like, right, this is what it was like. This is what it was like back then. I remember. Yeah, it has. If I were to play the game again, there would probably be all sorts of stuff I wanted to talk about, right? I might have my own interpretation, which I could then tell someone else, and it could turn into a great big exchange of ideas. It's that kind of game. It is. That's why, when people decide which of the heroines they like best, yeah, they want to feel like they could argue it and persuade someone. I know I do. I think that's true. Yeah. I guess it's like every story leaves its own reverberations. And this is good. Being able to have your own interpretations of the same story and discuss those interpretations with other people, it's a super healthy and fun thing to do. As long as you can do it without arguing, you have to understand that not every person is going to love certain aspects of every character. Some people think certain aspects of people are super annoying. Some people think it's really cute. That's the human way. So everybody just needs to get along. Get along. Even if you have one of the heroines you like more than the rest, understand that other people have different opinions. I've seen too many arguments about this. Yes. There's room left for people to ponder. Right. Personally, with plays and things, I'm not really that great with stories that have too many answers. And I guess you could say everything leaves some margin for consideration. That's one possible answer. Yeah, but maybe that's not all. With everyone's heart getting this stirred up, yeah, I guess I could just say, yes, that's all. Then it would just end with us going, oh, really? But if we said, oh, really, we'd get people writing in saying, no, it's not. Right? They'd want to say that. Saying, no, this isn't the way it is. Well, the fact that there are people among the players who would say that is really all I could hope for. Yeah. I mean, it's true, because it just means you have passionate fans that are willing to talk about how they view things, as long as they're not mean about it. But in a sense, I think it's because it's something Maruto-san wrote. The fact that we can think all these different ways about it, I think that's why. Right? I feel like there are people who would say, this is the deal, and people who wouldn't. Yeah. And it makes you start wondering what's going to come next after this. Yeah. Right? It's something everyone can talk about. Yeah, exactly. Even if Maruto-san were to say, that's all there is to it, people would still say, but it isn't really, right? Right. No one seems to trust anything I say lately. Really, though? Was this sworn enemies route something that you had as part of your vision from the beginning? I would say I had a feeling that if I was going to write a continuation, this is the way it would play out. Aha. Ah, gotcha. So then, and well, there would have to be the discussion of whether to make it for the PS3, right? It's so weird reading the word PS3 now. In terms of actually making it happen, in that sense, it had to succeed. Yeah, I see. As a work, yes. Right. I see. So, when I was finishing up the infidelity route, it really did feel like a so-called bad end. Right? I mean, most people would agree that it's kind of the bad end. And this made me feel like I got my strength back. Like my heart is recovering after cracking apart while I was recording. Then I guess you could say I added this route for the sake of your rehabilitation, Daichi-san, after the infidelity route broke you down. I highly doubt that's the reason why he did, but... Oh, wow. All for you, Daichi-san. I wrote it for rehabilitation's sake, so you have to stick with it past the start. I guess so. The same could go if you applied it to the players, right? I think the players would think the same thing. Really. That moment when I said, "Just you watch," actually felt really great. That was such a cool moment for Kazusa saying, "Just you watch." I'm really glad she said that. Yeah. I think that really says something about no, not where she's headed, but that crucial question about Kazusa. Yeah? Uh-huh. It says so much. You could write an essay strictly about that line and what it means and Kazusa's internal turmoil at that moment. It would be beautiful. Basically, the point is her independence, isn't it? That line gives the impression that Kazusa has become independent from Haruki. Yeah. It seems like she's overcome something. She's done some serious growing up, right? And even for people like us, as actors, I mean, yeah, right? We're made to experience all sorts of things, good and bad, which can change our sensitivities, but in just the same way. Yeah. It's like Yoko-san's, not all according to Yoko-san's scenario exactly, but it feels like her jetting off overseas by herself at the start of the story was her saying, "This is your goal." Sort of like she set Kazusa's story off herself. Man, I really don't like Kazusa's mom. How can I put this? The things she did, I find utterly despicable, abandoning her daughter. As a person, like if I was to like go get drinks with her, like I think she's an interesting person. But as a moral character, terrible. I hate when people like forgive her, especially Kazusa. I hate that Kazusa forgave her. I don't think she deserved it. I really don't. But Yoko-san at the start of the story is absolutely a terrible mother. Yes, a terrible mother. Like, she showed herself to be a terrible mother on purpose. Though it's hard to tell exactly when or why she turned into this good of a person. She's a good person at her heart, though, right? I definitely thought she must be a good person. I don't know if it's that simple. Yes, she loved her daughter, but that's different from whether she's a good person. See, that's the thing. This is where I really agree with Maruto-san. I think out of everybody that comments on this, as far as the voice actors and actresses go, Maruto-san is the one that's hardest on Yoko-san. Which is ironic, because he's the one that wrote the scenario. But he's truly being like, well, she's not really that great a person. And that's where I agree with him. She drives me crazy. Not in a good way. She could have had a selfish side. That side of being a true artist. Yeah. So, when it comes to the mother-child bond, instead of raising her child, Kazusa, she sort of shoved her out. And it's hard to say whether that's love. You could say that's how artists are, only ever thinking about themselves. Right? Well, if you want to come here, if you're going to do it, then just do it. That kind of dismissiveness could be showing itself. I honestly think that, at the start, when she left Kazusa behind and went overseas, she wasn't thinking about anything. Oh, at that stage. I see. Yes. See, how cruel is that? How terrible is that? Man. Maybe just, you can live on your own. Yes. So at that point, she probably really was only thinking of herself. She sent the card and everything. I see. But see, she does love her, but also is only thinking of herself, which feels like a bit of a contradiction. She has these contradictory sides. Typical artist. I don't know. I don't think that's any excuse at all. You can love someone and still do horrible things to them. You can love someone and still be like, well, I still care about myself way more. But when you have a kid, They can't even fend for themselves. It's not like dumping someone you're on equal ground with to pursue your own dreams. You're dumping off your kid who can't even live like on their own means. You had to put her with a housekeeper. And I think that's a way different dynamic. I think that needs to be taken into consideration. Although, if you think about it from the standpoint of general society, sure, she's a bad mother, but I feel like there's a difference of perspective there. Yeah? And she's the one who's thinking about Kazusa more than anyone else. Yeah. And I'm sure there are families with internationally famous pianists who get along just fine with their children. Right? But I can't think of any in stories. Good point. Yeah, they also don't abandon their children, just saying. I'm really salty about this subject. Really, really. I don't get that sense. If I think about how this is Yoko Toma, who threw everything away and dedicated her life to just one thing, yeah? Then it makes sense that things would end up like this. With that being the case, as I've been talking just now, I've started to think of the sworn enemies route as essentially being Kazusa's story. Yeah. Of course, it's also Haruki's story, the story of all three of them. But I feel like it can be Kazusa's happy end, since she was the one who succeeded the best in finally reaching her destination. Right? Yeah. Yeah, maybe so. Right? Granted, there are a lot of people who wouldn't be happy unless she's stuck with Haruki. Right, there are, but if you just think of it as one path. If we think of it as just one path, then everyone may be convinced of both ways being happy. Yeah, I mean, that's possible. I know I said something like this last week, but when someone rejects me, I still get on good terms with them. I'll even go to their wedding. Wow. But I do find myself thinking, I'm going to succeed, or I'm going to become someone even better at times like that. Yeah. But that's not out of a grudge. It's more like a feeling of satisfaction with myself. Yeah. Like, hey, look at me now. I tend to do the same thing. Yeah, because if you branch off, let's say, if our life is in branches, if you branch off to a branch you thought was going to be really happy, and you become happier, that's such a good feeling of satisfaction, because it is scary to branch off, If you end an old relationship, if you end an old job, and you end up being more satisfied with yourself, you look back and you're like, yes, like even though I'm sad, I had to leave that branch, I'm in a better place. And that's, I think, what Kazusa could end up achieving here. I see. Yeah. And we still get along because after everything, that feeling of fondness is still there. I think that's why anyway. So if it weren't there, you would split completely? Split? Oh. I mean, you wouldn't go to their wedding or anything. I think the feeling of friendship is... Basically, sometimes it's hard to tell where the boundary is between feelings of romantic love and friendship. Yeah. There's a gray area. So you might like someone, or you might think someone is an amazing person, but being in love with them is slightly different. Good point. And that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah. Wow. So it's not like, I like you. Oh, you're not going to date me? Then I'm forgetting the whole thing. If part of you respects the person or thinks they're great, then you can't really get rid of that feeling. Yes, that makes sense. Yeah. For real. And I think to sum up what he's saying, the friend zone is crud. Like, if you try for something romantic with someone and they're like, oh, no, sorry, like, I just want to be friends, you don't need to forget the whole relationship. You don't need to reconstruct everything. And you don't need to force those feelings out of your head immediately. Just understand that, like, they don't want to pursue that branch with you and continue being with them as a friend. My opinion. But come on, be mature about it. Like Daichi-san is saying here. So, for example, Is it okay for me to talk about this? Is this appropriate for this segment? You're fine. Yeah, you can talk about whatever you want. This is feeling like a closing party or like we're out for drinks. Yeah, a bit. But anyway, he really wants to say this. When I get dumped, I just keep talking about that. When that happens, I really envy people who can just go, well, all right, and move on. Right? Because I always end up fixating on it for a while. Guys, as a species, tend to drag things out like that. Right, that's what people say. And as for what makes them drag it out, I think it's that the more we think, oh, I don't like them anymore, I hate them now, the more feelings are actually still left. So once you finally completely peel back the exterior of these complicated feelings, what you have left is fondness. Yes. If that fondness weren't there, you wouldn't have those pent-up hard feelings, this resentment piling up on top of it. So once I chip all of that away, stop doing and thinking and feeling things that I don't need, I realize that fondness is still there and I can get along with them. If it's not there, there's no way. That's how it works for some people. Yeah, and I feel like it depends on the relationship too, because yes, underneath it all, there's still the person that you fell in love with, there's still the person that you like, but discovering some of the other sides of a person, that fondness actually can go away completely. You know, like, you can find out terrible things about a person so that, oh, they really like animals, they're an animal lover. That doesn't matter anymore, you know? You can't always chip everything away. But for lighthearted relationships, yes, I agree with them here. So when you think of that person and go, I'm going to become someone really impressive, I guess that's the case for Kazusa too, that at her core, she still has that fondness for him. She's got a ton of it, right? Yes, she's got a ton of it. And that's exactly why she says, just you watch. If she didn't have that core, she would stop having any interest in anything and wouldn't cling to anything anymore. Right? Exactly. So if it's about having that sense, I don't know, maybe this is a characteristically male thing. What? But this completely lines up with Kazusa, right? Yeah. What you've been describing? Right. That's why that feeling is resonating with me. I get it. That fixation is obvious to you. As Daichu-san, you can embody both Haruki and Kazusa. Both. I mean, maybe. But she's doing her best to move forward. Right? That's what makes Kazusa so cool. Yeah. The story in this route was pretty striking. It's inspirational. Definitely inspirational. I want to be just like that. That's quite the announcement. I want to be like that isn't exactly an announcement. Oh, we learned a lot about Haruki's love life and thoughts on love. So, with that, we will stop here for now. Thank you so much for being here on the final episode of White Album 2 Fan Club Radio, and I will be back with part 2 shortly. So until then, I hope you take care. See you!